right, guys, welcome to the Built by Vitality podcast. My name is Steve Pinkerton. I'm sitting next to
Philip Lewis.
And we have Derek Hill on the podcast today. Derek Hill is one of Jess's nutrition clients, and from the outside looking in, I've been able to see this journey a little bit over the last 2.5 years. And Derek just recently lost, it eclipsed 200 pounds, which...
And only about a year and a half now, actually. Eight months, a year and 8 months now.
So a year and 8 months, that's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at that. So I think as soon as she said that, I said, man, we got to get Derek on here. I want to talk to him about his journey, talk to him. And this is done for the first 7 or 8 months with no working out. I think there's some misconceptions that, I can't really fix my nutrition or my diet unless I'm training. And I think we're going to be able to see today, we're going to talk about some of the strategies that Derek's implemented. We're going to talk about his background. Yeah. We're going to talk about how he's become so successful. And I promise you, this is going to reach some people that are sitting back on the couch right now thinking that there's no solution, thinking that, I just don't have the motivation to do this.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to listen to this and not be able to take some action. And it might not mean that you're going to be all in like Derek right from the start, but we're going to get into, I'm going to peel it back. I'm going to ask Derek if he was all in right from the start. When did it transition to this massive change in your mindset? So Can you start with just kind of your background?
Sure.
Kind of going through high school into post-high school. You said you were always kind of a bigger guy.
Yeah, I've always been a bigger guy. I never really weighed myself, as a kid or middle school, high school. I've always been active. That's why I think I've never had any health issues, luckily. And I think that's the reason why a lot of my friends who are bigger, they're not very active and have had a ton of health issues. But I was lucky that way. But so I was always never like team sports, but middle school I was always backyard. I didn't play video games, and I was out every day. And I also wasn't like big sweets guy. Like I drank sweet tea and soda, but like not like I didn't eat like candy or anything. I just like food. I just ate a lot of food. That's just all it was. And so, middle school, high school, big. Started playing tennis the end of my high school year. Like my senior year, and I was a big guy playing tennis. I mean, people couldn't believe it. I was they didn't take me seriously, gave me an advantage a little bit because I was pretty solid. I was pretty solid, and then so played then, and then after high school, I really took to tennis for the next like 3-4 years. Played pretty heavily for about for a long time. Probably, I don't know if didn't weigh myself. I wasn't in the gym or anything, just played tennis probably 3-4 times a week, a couple hours each time. I was playing a lot. And so I probably maintained, maybe lost a little bit of weight, but probably over the, I was probably, like I told you, 350-ish, got into that, probably stayed in that range. And then I remember 2015, 2016, me and my friend who's a bigger guy, we were trying the Atkins diet at the time. I had a friend in high school do the Atkins diet and lost like 40-50 pounds, and didn't really know much about it. Just knew it was no bread, didn't really know the fat aspect of it. So we did it, and we felt terrible because we were just cutting carbs, but not and so not really. But we did it for a little bit, and I remember we were going to the gym too, and I remember at that point weighing in around right around 400 pounds, and didn't last long. And multiple times over the years, I've tried diet type things, whether it's no carb or just like grilled chicken and rice and just, that kind of thing.
Bodybuilder diet.
Yeah. Because I was with some friends who were, his dad was a bodybuilder. And so I'd go to the gym with them, and they would, and so I just do what they tell me to do kind of. And I've tried all these things, and they were just all very short term, didn't last long. It was always just back to what it was.
So what made you stop playing tennis? Because I think that was the trigger that started putting on some weight.
Yeah. So just work and stuff. I was at the time I was traveling a lot, and so just ran out of time. And then also another big thing was just some friends that I played with. They started going on with life, moving away, and so I just kind of lost contact with people. And I just didn't ever make the effort to find new people because I'd had a group of like 3, 4, or 5 people that I played with regularly over the last 4 years, and then college and life and things like that. And so I just never reached out to anybody else. And so that combined with just a hectic work schedule and traveling, and just kind of lost the passion, I guess, probably a little bit. And probably, and then into it, probably just started losing the energy I was putting on weight. I probably just didn't feel like playing tennis. Yeah. And so, so 2015, 2016, that was like I'd already started to wane off of tennis. That was probably like literally the last time it actually hit until here recently. And then, over the next 5 years or so, probably put on another 100 pounds or so.
So your heaviest, you were close to about 500 pounds.
Yeah,
you're 495.
495 when I started September 30th, 2019.
September 30th, 2019. Now, what was the trigger that led you to Jess?
So a friend I work with, I got a lot of friends apparently.
That's a good thing.
A friend I work with, his parents come here, and they told him about Jess. He's not like super big. He probably need to lose 40 or 50 pounds or something. He's tall, big tall guy. And his parents came here, and I think they saw Jess at the time, and they told him about it, and then he was like, hey, why don't you come check it out? And so we both came and started at the same time. And it was like, and when we started, like I've had this every time I've done like a diet type thing, it's been with someone else. Like I've always had like a support system. Yeah. But what I've realized now, that because I've been successful now, is that until you decide to do something, like the support system is great. You definitely need one, but it's still all up to you whether you decide to stick with it or not. Like you can have someone to keep you honest or kind of give you some motivation when you're down, but like if you're not actually ready to do something about it, then you're probably not going to do anything about it.
We talk about that a lot with accountability. If Philip is always wanting to train and I'm always not in that mindset to train, he's only going to drag me with him for a finite amount of times. Yeah. And it's going to become a part where I start to detract from his happiness and goals and enjoyment because he's constantly having to like drag me with him. The accountability works when both people have that same burning desire. Mm-hmm. And now it may happen once or twice that Philip has to drag me with him, but the other 2 or 3 times I'm dragging him. And then, that's the trap of, not making that thing first, that commitment first.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. I completely agree with that. The accountability, it only works like if you're both willing to do something.
What do you think changed for you? Why were you now so willing to buy into it?
I've still don't know. I've been trying to think. It's been trying to think about this. There was a lot of things going on at that time. I started keto, so I came and saw Jess like mid-September, like the 15th or whatever. And goal was, plan was to start right then, when I saw her, and then at that time my mom went to the hospital, and I was just a lot going on, and Jess, she was like, so I was like, we're gonna start in 2 weeks, we'll and so I texted her on the 30th, said, hey, I'm starting today. That was it. And my mom was still in the hospital at the time, and then there was a strange in the next couple of days from that, she went from like doing okay to not, and she ended up passing away.
Oh wow! Yeah,
on the 3rd of October, and so I started keto, and then a week later she ended up, and so I remember the only thing I remember is my week mark was the day of her memorial service, and I lost 20 pounds in my first week of doing keto. Dang. Yeah, all water weight mainly, but still
was 20 pounds.
That was in the beginning that was it. The scale was that's all the motivation you really need, and for me being 495 pounds, and I'm down to 475 in 1 week, and and so I think that had something to do with it. The fact that it was more like I don't know, just I was on my own now, kind of like it's like no safety net, maybe a little bit.
Was your mom's condition in the hospital? Was it related to a weight or?
She was overweight, but she didn't have any. She had a thyroid issue, but she had high blood pressure, but no no diabetes or anything like that. She fell and one day when I was at work, she fell and she could, she had already having trouble, like she had bad knees and a bad back, and there was already a gaining. It was already such a big worry for me to even leave the house. But she was mostly stable. She could get up and move around, but she fell, and she ended up cracking one of her vertebrae when she fell, and that was the reason she literally couldn't move when she fell this time, and we got her to the hospital, and then from there. What it seems is she just gave up. Yeah. I mean, she was 73 years old and in a lot of pain, and I think that's what happened.
I wonder, I think it's so awesome that you lose 20 pounds in the first week. I wonder, with all of that weight coming down on you, you've got all these things kind of happening at once where now you change your diet. And that's a huge stressor in your body. You've got all this outside stress from the loss of your mom.
Yeah.
I wonder what would have happened if you wouldn't have had just that initial bolt of success. And you weigh in after a week of kind of doing this and it's zero.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Like, again, this is the first time that's another reason I think the reason this also clicked is because I was taking it more serious. I came to see Jess. I never seen a nutritionist before. I think maybe there was a point of me I'd spent money to do this, and so I didn't spend a lot of money. It wasn't expensive, but I had spent some money. I'd paid, saw Jess, and I'd bought all these supplies, and I had more of a set plan to do something, and so that probably had a lot to do with it as well. But yeah, if I'd had just a terrible first week or very little success in the first week, I didn't know what to expect in the first week. 20 pounds was way above expectations. If I'd lost 10 pounds or something, or 8 pounds or 5 pounds even, probably I would have been very happy. But yeah, if I'd had a week where I'd lost nothing or something like that, it would have been. I don't know what would have happened.
So what was your mindset when you sat down with Jess for the first time? I always wonder. That's always a question we ask when people come into the gym, and I'm sure Jess asked that in her consultations. What was the expectation? What were you expecting to get out of it?
For me, it was just about, literally just the scale. That's all it was. I was 495 pounds. I was not healthy by any means. I wasn't focused on gym. I wasn't focused on anything except the scale in the beginning, especially.
A lot of people think when they come to the gym, or if I would mention a nutritionist or something to them, their first question or response to me is, is she going to make me work out?
Yeah.
They're just associate she's going to put me through the ringer when I get here.
Yeah.
You don't
that's the
have
biggest
to
loser.
do that.
That's like Jillian Michaels.
You don't do that.
It's terrible. That
you've been seeing Jess for 2 years almost or whatever.
Yeah.
Has she ever said, "Hey, you need to go down there. We're going to work"?
No. She
it's what you're putting in your body.
Yeah. She obviously encourages workout because, especially after a certain point, once you hit plateaus and things like that. But yeah, she was. I told her that I played tennis and stuff, and she was like, that'd be great if you could kind of get back. I told her I wanted to get back into it, and things like so she would encourage things, but she was never like, this is what you have to do. If you don't do this, you're gonna fail, or anything like that. That was never the case. It was all just about the diet, and just about being as committed to doing it as possible.
What was the few changes that you made initially that were kind of the hardest for you when you started to follow this?
The hardest thing that I started with, and one thing I failed at was meal prepping. I did it for the first 3 weeks. I did the diet. Just I don't cook. I never. I understand how to cook. I can cook chicken and hamburger meat and make eggs and things like that. But so it was just. I'm lazy. I'm a lazy guy. Just, you know, in terms of when I'm not doing something, like if I'm not working or you know, doing, you know, I don't want to go and cook or anything like that. So, but I got some friends again, Garrett, who's the guy that started with me, and my first time I went to his house, I brought all my food. He helped me. We meal prep for both of us. And then the next week, some more friends came over to my house, and I bought, you know, stuff to cook with and things like that, and did that. And then, you know, but that was the hardest thing, just for one, just doing the actual doing it, and then two, you know, mentally, probably more than anything, the food didn't taste as good to me as a restaurant or, you know, something like that. So that was the hardest thing. And initially, I didn't really have an issue giving up. For me, this diet was great. You know, I loved bacon and I like mayonnaise and eggs and just meat. I mean, I like vegetables too. You know, and I can eat most vegetables. I like, you know, mushrooms and onions and I did enjoy fruit, but it wasn't something crazy. Obviously carbs are a thing. So I did, you know, I was feeling carb withdrawals. You know, I wanted bread and things like that, but
what about sweet tea and soda?
So soda eventually moved out of my life. It was just strictly sweet tea. I drank so much. I would go to a restaurant with friends and sit down, and if we were there for an hour, I would drink 8 glasses of sweet tea. I love sweet tea so much.
Sweet tea's good, boy. My grandma sweet tea. Man.
So where's the best sweet tea?
To get it from a place, oh man, that's rough. There's a couple. Chick-fil-A is pretty solid as far as consistency goes. It has to be honestly McDonald's or Whataburger.
Okay.
Whataburger is like so good.
Whataburger. Have you ever been to Whataburger? We should do a podcast there.
It's great.
So sweet tea was tough.
Yeah. Well, and I'd given up. I'd made it where I didn't make sweet tea at home. Because I would drink so much of it. So I know myself pretty well. So even when I was gaining weight and stuff, like I said, it was because of food. I ate a lot of food, but I know myself pretty well. So I didn't have snacks at home, because I knew if I had snacks at home, I would just eat them.
Yep.
And then same with sweet tea. So like I drank only water at home, and then I didn't have snacks. But I'd given up sweet tea multiple times, like, you know, for long periods of time, just for whether it was just trying to cut back or you know, other reasons. So like it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Like there have been multiple 3-4 month periods where I only drank water.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty easy. And you know, you can do like the thing about Jess that I liked is she's very focused on just trying to help maintain.
Yeah.
So there are things that aren't necessarily the best. You shouldn't do them, but if you need to do them to maintain, it's not going to, especially for someone like me that had so much weight to lose. Like I didn't have to be as strict. So she, you know, if I came in, I was like, I have to have some kind of soda. She probably, I mean, Zevia is a thing, which I guess Zevia is probably just fine, honestly. Yeah. But like if I had to have, you know, Diet Coke or something, like, you know, she, you know, but no, that wasn't an issue for me really. Just water was fine. It was just the meal prepping and you know, the carb withdrawals were a thing in the beginning for sure.
So what does meal prepping look like for you now?
So I don't know if I probably gave you a heads up before I started. So I still don't cook.
This is actually perfect, because I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people think that if they're going to change their diet, they gotta pass time cooking. So I didn't know this. This is great though.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been a big advocate for this diet for my friends and people that ask me about it. And then I try to make it seem even better because I don't cook.
Yeah.
I do this diet the hardest way possible. Literally the hardest way. It is I eat the same foods and just I don't get to enjoy the some of the better things about the diet because I don't cook. But so for me, meal prepping, it doesn't exist. I'm one of DoorDash's biggest customers. Yeah. So for me, meals are just Deli meat and cheese is a big one. Probably 3 times a week that's a meal. And then just salads from like Jason's Deli or wherever I can get a salad from. Zaxby's.
Zaxby's.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorites. It's so good.
We should go to Zaxby's together.
Their grilled chicken Caesar is like my favorite like fast food salad, like hands down.
So you do keto, but you just do it going out.
Yeah, I do. Except for when I eat the meat and stuff. Like, and in the beginning, I tried to be as strict as possible. I didn't even mess around with any of the keto products because, Jess would always call them a slippery slope, and so like I didn't mess around with any Quest products or any of the keto sweets or anything. Like I didn't do it. I didn't mess. For the first 8 months, I didn't even have. I don't think I tried a keto product for probably 8 months, maybe even a year. I can't even remember.
See, that's how real men like me and you do keto. Now this guy starts keto and he walks into our kitchen here. He's been doing this for 2 weeks. I did keto for 5.5 years with the warden herself. Okay. So I remember I didn't get keto nothing, no snacks, no nothing. It was strict keto and I'm taking my ketones.
Yeah.
This knucklehead comes in and he's got a picture of keto ice cream and he thinks he's eating a pint a night.
No. I sent a picture to Jess and I said, "Is this okay?" She said, "Oh, it's a slippery slope."
Yeah.
So I know myself, I would have ate the whole pint. So I bought the individual bars. Okay. So I ate one bar a night.
And I'm like, what in the world?
Oh man, there's so many keto products. Like
I know.
I was open up to when I actually started looking. I was like, man, you can get anything. And I use that to. I'm still very. I know myself, so I've had them, and I have them from time to time. But I know myself very well. I don't like stock up or buy them, but I use them because people, it is about maintaining. And if you have to have it, like my friends that don't because they don't have as much weight to lose, they're not in as bad shape, so it's not as dire for them to be as strict. So I definitely, but like I didn't do any of that stuff in the beginning. For at least for the first year, I didn't have a single keto. It was just.
So you must have softened Jess up because I got the prison style keto. That's what you got.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now, after me and you, we got Philip, who's getting the
she gave me the other day
the patty cake Cracker Jack version.
You FaceTimed me to make sure I wasn't lying.
And then he's able to have a blueberry muffin after his workout. And I said,
Jess approved that. He FaceTimed me. She said,
listen, did you tell him he could do that? So anyway.
That's so she said, after his workout, it's okay. He was like, I'm going to kill him.
So me and Derek might have to have a little sit down.
Yeah.
So at what point did you start to see, was it 100 pounds? Like, when did you start to see this free fall happen? Like, man, I'm not losing 20, 30, 40 pounds. I'm at 100 pounds.
Yeah,
or when was it that you opened your eyes?
So quick. So the first big one was I didn't do any cheat days or anything like that for the first. Yeah, I would have went longer. It ended up being 3 months. The only reason I did is because it was Christmas Day. I go with my family and they cook and everything, and so I was like, I'm gonna have a cheat day But at that point, so September 30th to December, 3 months, I lost almost 70 pounds.
Dang.
Wow.
And so that was like insane. I mean, and that was the first time I got Jess to send me my before and after pictures.
Yeah.
And it was just a massive difference. It was so crazy. I wanted to share them around. I showed everybody. It was wild. But then, and then after that, the beginning of the year 2020, January, I took a trip to visit a friend who's stationed in Hawaii. And I was there for 2 weeks, almost about 12 days. And I went crazy. I was like, no diet. I gained 30 pounds in the
How long were you there?
12 days. I gained 30 pounds in 12 days. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try and say because Jess was like, enjoy yourself, but, don't try not to have too much fat, and take, if you can stick with because I was doing keto coffee, bulletproof coffee at the time. And she's like, if you take take that with you maybe and keep you, and try and stay away from the super fatty foods while you're doing if you're going to cheat and things like that. And just show some discipline. Basically is all she was asking me to do, and I told her I would, and I probably fully intended to try at the time. But when I got there, it was there was no discipline at all for 2 weeks.
Dang, so you lost 70 in 3 months.
Yeah,
and in January.
Yeah. I think I was down because I had a meeting with Jess before I left because I went at the end of January, and I think I was down 82 pounds when I went to Hawaii or something like that. It's over 80, something like that, and I gained 30 pounds. But I fully intended to. So I got back on a Friday. I had a friend pick me up from the airport. I went out for one last cheat meal at CC's. I was like, I want to have it. And then Saturday morning, I started right back, and I fully intended to do that. And so that Saturday morning, I weighed in. I'd gained to 30 pounds, like I said, 40 pounds. Excuse me, 40 pounds. Yeah, 40 pounds. I gained 40 pounds. And so I started back, and then I did back on strict keto for the next week, and then the next Saturday I weighed in and lost all 40 pounds.
Jeez.
That's crazy, man.
And I think that's when I look at the benefit of having someone like Jess, who is probably one of the most understanding people you're going to meet. She can be the voice of reason and say, hey, listen, it doesn't matter that we all slip up, we all make mistakes, we all lose that discipline. But guess what? When you jump back on, it's going to be good because sure, I'm sure a ton of that was water weight that you put back on. Sure. But if you don't know that and you don't have someone saying, hey, man, listen, no big deal. Just get back on the wagon and see what happens.
100%.
Then all of a sudden, think about how easy it would have been for you to go and look at that scale and be, man, I just gained 40 pounds. I'm done. I can't do it. You throw a towel in. I bet you the next 30 or 40 are like that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, Jess is. I mean, I can't speak highly enough about Jess and what just the way she's, the way she goes about it, the way she presents the diet and makes the way she takes in. She is when your first consultation, she's like. She finds out as much as she can, like, what do you need to do? What do you like? What do you don't like? What do you have to be able to maintain? That's what it is to her, like, which is, I mean, that's what it is. Maintaining overall is the goal. Obviously, the stricter you are in the beginning, especially the better results you're going to have. But the long term goal for a year or 2 years, 3 years, 4, whatever. It's about a lifestyle change more than it's not a diet. And that's what she focuses on is maintaining. So like I've sent 4 or 5 of my friends to her now, and they're all different in terms of what they need to maintain that. Again, I want to clarify, like, I want to hit the point is that I was almost 500 pounds. I had to do this. Yeah, this had to happen. Like if I was on a path to being in a very bad spot. So when that probably played a lot to as much as I don't think that was the case, like subconsciously that was it. Like I realized that this had to be something I did, or I was going to be, there's no telling what could have happened. Especially with what happened that we didn't know was, the pandemic or whatever. But, all my friends, they're not in that situation. A lot of them, they're just, they just came in because I tell people, they see that I lost 20 pounds my first week and 60 pounds in the first 3 months. And I tell them, you're not going to have that. You obviously don't need, but you will lose some weight if that's what you're looking to do. So they come here and she's trying to extend it past, a 2-month thing. Yeah. So she's like, okay, well, if you need a friend of mine who's a big, chips and salsa fan, he loves it. And, so she's like, she's never going to suggest that you indulge in the keto products a lot. So, but she's like, Quest chips. Yep. Salsa's okay. Already. Just try this brand. Pork rinds. Things like that. And then another friend who's he was a big sweet person, and so the same thing. You hear the Quest bars or high key cookies or things like these keto products. Don't go crazy. Don't rely on them, but they're there if you need them.
I think when you look at people and what triggers them to start, it's usually they're at the end of their rope. They're at the end of, man, you were almost 500 pounds.
Yeah.
And I think what this shows is that, maybe if you would have heard your story, you would have started at 400 pounds or at 350.
Yeah.
And people end up waiting until they're kind of out of options, and then but that's what it takes to get that discipline and motivation.
I agree. And if I'd known about Jess 150 pounds ago or 100 pounds ago, I would have probably started too. I just didn't know. In my head, a nutritionist was someone that was going to be very judgmental and also cost a fortune. In my head, it was just like I can't afford to be healthy.
Yeah.
I think that's a big misconception. Well, there's some truth to it. It's unfortunate where you can go to a fast food restaurant and get a burger for $1, but a salad costs $5. Like it's just, but. If I'd known about Jess and the way she, the environment that she provided and the affordability, I would have started years ago.
So you're at 200 pounds now.
I am.
When was the last time you think maybe freshman, sophomore, high school was the last time you were 295?
Easily that long ago.
So what's next? What's the plan? Do you think that you lost any motivation as you get to this 200 mark?
So there have been a couple points where I was starting to wane because the scale had always been my motivation. It'd been my biggest thing, stepping on the scale once a week and seeing, in the beginning, that 20 pounds and 10 pounds and 15 pounds a week. And then just a solid, for 3-4 months, it was just a solid 7 pounds a week. And I was like, that's what I needed.
Yeah.
And then there were just a couple times, 6-7 months in, where things were starting to kind of wane off. And so, Jess was like, all right, well, let's cut back on fat because, I don't need as much in my diet anymore. And so I cut back on the coffee. And then also the diet went up for me. I lost my appetite in the beginning, a decent amount. Like I just was not, so very naturally I'd already kind of moved into, an intermittent fasting schedule with just like a 8-12 or 8-16 schedule where I ate between like a 4 and like a 4 p.m. and a 12 I eat at work around 4 p.m. and I eat when I got home from work before 12. And the only thing that broke that is I had the bulletproof coffee every morning. So all at the same time, just to kind of, we'd also noticed that I'd had a few cheat days, and like anytime I'd have like I'd be on like a kind of like a slow, 2 or 3 weeks where I was only losing like 2 or 3 pounds a week. I'd have a cheat day, and then after that, it would kind of start things. And like for the next couple of weeks, I'd lose the weight that I gained from the cheat day, but then for the next couple of weeks, I would have like 6 or 7 pounds a week lost or whatever. And so all about the same time, I was starting to kind of lose, but Jess was right on it. She's like, all right, we'll cut back the bulletproof coffee, cut back the fat. We will, you'll officially be intermittent fasting now. You won't be breaking the fast every morning. And she was like, well, let's try a cheat day a week. A cheat meal. Cheat meal a week, excuse me. That was her thing. And so that kind of started about March or April of 2020.
What was your favorite cheat meal?
In the beginning, I was just trying everything. I admit, I had everything when I was in Hawaii, but obviously there's some things there. I mean, the things I did the most was in the beginning was probably pizza. Yeah. Just because it was easy, and I love pizza. And so that started to, and it kind of, so in the beginning it was having one keto meal and then my cheat meal on the cheat day. And then eventually I kind of made it where I would only eat the cheat meal. Like I would not eat my keto meal, and I would only have that one meal a day, and I just have a big cheat meal. And then that of, and then, it was, she was like, you can have one a week or whatever. And I was still wanting to be very strict. So like I would have, on average, I'd have 1.5 a month, maybe. Like, there'd be some nights I'd have 2, but most, but on average. And so that kind of kick-started a process again to where I was losing 5-6 pounds every single week again. And then I remember last July I was traveling for work, and I was driving, and I had ate my meal at 10-11 o'clock the night before as normal, and I was driving at around 4 o'clock, and I was almost there. It was my time to eat. I was hungry. I wasn't really hungry, but I was I didn't want to stop, so I didn't. And And so I ended up getting where I was going. I was driving home, and I got back, I was out of state. I got back into North Carolina around 10:30 that night, and I was hungry, and so I stopped and ate, and I was like, wow, that really wasn't that bad doing a 23-hour fast or whatever I want them. And so I started doing OMAD, I guess, like last July, and I've been doing that for the last however long, since almost a year now. So with a little breaks here and there, but so anyway, so that was another period where that kind of kick-started the results again. I started seeing a lot of results and stuff, and then again, tennis came back in the mix. So back in August or back in March, right when the pandemic hit, I had this massive energy boost. Massive energy boost. Things were popping really well, and the gyms were closed, and so I started doing stuff at home, just like push-ups and sit-ups, and I saw results from that because I didn't do anything. Yeah. So when you go from doing nothing to doing something, you're going to see results, and I did that, and then into tennis and stuff. And so like November of last year, like I was getting close to my 1 year mark. I was at 170 pounds. So, and I really wanted to hit that 200 mark at a year, but that's 170 pounds is crazy.
Yes.
And then started getting into tennis, and this is where kind of my focus has started to begin to change. Is it from the scale as much to now I'm looking at body fat percentage, and because November of last year I got down to, when I started the diet, I was at almost 49% body fat. And I was down to 22%.
Wow.
And tennis had been a big thing. The scale's still a big motivation for me. But now I'm in the gym on a regular basis, 4 times a week usually, or something like that. And it's just about getting that body fat percentage to that healthy range now.
When did you start feeling like you wanted to do that stuff? How long did it take after you started with Jess till you were like, I kind of feel good, want to do this?
Yeah, that was that March time frame. Like, I just got this big energy boost, and I had to do something. I wanted to go to the gym, but they were all closed at the time, and that's why I started doing just push-ups, sit-ups, things. I didn't have any weights at home, just push-ups, sit-ups, air squats, and just that energy lasted, and then into tennis and stuff, and then the gym's obviously reopened, earlier than I started. Again, we're going back to this. You have to still make the decision.
Yeah.
So
you feel like you're more productive at work and stuff now?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Like I just come end of January, I was like, let's see what we can do at the gym, and
that's good.
And that's what's been. So now, sorry, it was like I said, long point to get to now. Like the scale is not. It's still very important to me because I have a goal weight-ish range, I guess, is to get to, but more importantly now, I'm more focused on that body fat, getting to that healthy range, and potentially into a really.
When you say goal, what is your goal range?
Somewhere between 260 and 270, but I want to be like really just solid now. It's that was always that was when I started this, that was always the goal, but I didn't want to set too high a bar. Like it was just let's just lose weight. Let's see how we do. It wasn't. I didn't come into Jess like
I want to lose 230 pounds.
I want to lose 230.
I don't want to lose 230, and I want to be. I didn't, and I don't want to be like but that was never like I never spoke it out loud.
Yeah.
Like it was always in my head. That was always my vision. But like. But now that now we're here. Now it's attainable.
So what happens? How does life compare for you? Quality of life at 495 to now at 200 pounds less. Do you notice? I mean, just every day,
every single day.
Yeah.
Just the where my body doesn't. I haven't changed my day to day much. Overall, I mean, obviously the gym and things like that, but like just going to work and things like that didn't change. Like my work, but I was on my feet all day, and at 500 pounds, it hurt. I was at home. Came home. I was sore. Or just exhausted. No energy. Yeah, and I was. If I didn't get a decent amount of sleep, like I was, that was a bad day. And then just gradually now, and just simple things like when I first started coming to see Jess, walking up those stairs, I'd be out of breath, and I'd stand at the top and wait till I caught my breath before I even walked in to see Jess, because I didn't want to be huffing and puffing when I came into her office. And now I jog up and have no problem, and I don't have any issues being at work all day or going to the gym and I can't really compare like the gym and tennis because I am sore and stuff. It still takes a lot out of me to granted, I play tennis for a long time. Like, I play for hours and I go to the gym and and I still feel it. My body still, but I'm also 7-8 years older than I was. I do think that has when I was, I was 23, 24 and now I'm 31. Like, so, I think that has a play on it. I don't think it has to do with my weight anymore. Obviously more if I was to continue to lose weight, I will feel better still because I am not moving around as much weight. But
we definitely saw a huge drop off in Philip's performance as he got to be old. So when we get old, like him, we'll see a big decline. So you still got about 6 years before you start creeping up on his.
That's good. That's good to know. That's good to know.
So somebody's sitting at home, and I would imagine. Post-pandemic, where we've seen that the average person is going to gain between 26 and 35 to 40 pounds, there's a lot of people that are going to be looking to start something. What do you tell those people that are sitting in your shoes that maybe don't have 230 pounds to lose, but to me, whether it's 100 or 200 or whatever, I think it's the same mindset that has to happen. So what do you tell someone that to take action? How do you get them to buy into that?
So
buy into what you did?
I take the Jess route in terms of because like I said, I did this diet the absolute worst possible way in terms of just no meal prepping, I don't cook, and so my pitch to a lot of people is for one, if you're I don't try and force it or anything. So I was like, if you're ready to do something. I tell them that this diet is like basically not a diet. Even though I don't cook, I save and I find recipes, keto recipes and things like that. And my pitch is like, can you cook? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, this isn't a diet then. Like it's just do what you do, but just use these.
It's a lifestyle change, like you said.
Yeah. Just use this instead. I mean, there's my pitch is to try and make it seem so like they're basically not having to give up really anything. Which obviously I tell them things don't taste. I'm not sitting here and trying to tell you that this keto version doesn't taste as good as this. But for me, it tasted good enough. You see,
good enough.
You see the results and it's good enough. So I tell people for one, you just have to start. Like there's, people, it's like, I'm going to start. You have to start.
Day one.
Yeah. Day one. And I try and pitch people that, I think the majority of people like bacon. They like eggs. They like, there's so many fan favorite, people, there's so many popular foods that this diet, you're still fine. And then if you can cook, you can, if you're a big pasta fan, you've got, zucchini noodles or the shiitake noodles, the mushroom, which I've never personally had, but a friend that started this diet said he tastes very close to chicken Alfredo, and cauliflower rice is good. If it's pretty solid. There's so many replacements, and where I feel like if you just start, and I think you can. It's very maintainable to where it make you feel like you're not really giving up too much, and then you're seeing results. You're feeling better. The energy the energy boost is incredible.
I think for you're in a situation to where Jess kind of talks about you becoming a student of this diet where you've done your own research. You've taken all the strategies that she's tried and the ones that work. Now all of a sudden you put that in your toolbox. You're like, okay, well, here's all these things that I know worked for me. And then the difference that some people underestimate is hearing it from you, from a guy that's lost 200 pounds, is different than hearing it from Philip, who is going to lose 6 pounds. And the goals are going to be so different.
Yeah.
You have this, just this massive ability to relate to people that might see someone else and say, man, I'll never be able to look like Philip or whatever.
Right.
But you know what? Gosh, he lost 200 pounds and he's telling me I don't have to know how to cook.
Yeah.
He did it the hardest way.
He did meal prep.
Degree of difficulty at 10.
I did.
I did not know that. That was crazy. You're like, I did meal prep. I lost 200 pounds.
Yeah, I did not meal prep.
You would think that would come with it.
That was the biggest thing for me, the convenience of this diet. Like you can eat, Jess will give it to you. She'll give you this keto meal eating out thing, like what you can have, and I've found just some really great keto meals at different restaurants, and it's just so convenient to me that I can I can basically eat something keto everywhere, just about.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like you don't, if you're going to be super strict, you don't want to be eating out. Like I understand that.
But that's where you win.
Yeah.
You won because you met this in the middle to where, yes, you were strict, but you didn't take it to an extreme to where you set yourself up for failure.
Yeah,
if you gave yourself no wiggle room,
Yeah.
then you're going to fail.
Yeah.
And you found that balance, that middle ground to where, you know what, hey, I'm going to have a cheat meal when I feel like that. I'm going to try some fasting. I'm going to do some different things, and I'm going to be able to eat out and not completely change and alter my quality of life.
Yeah. That's, in the end, it's all about maintaining, and then that's what it was for me, is this convenience to be able to just, I wasn't super strict. I wasn't having, I was still eating preservatives when I ate out, and, meats and things like that. And, I wasn't being, I didn't follow macros super well in the beginning, and, really at all. I mean, just stay below 20 grams of carbs. That was it, but I was able to do it. That was it. Like you can't, it's very, very doable. Like following macros and stuff is obviously the goal. That's the point, but like, it's not necessary. You can, the simplest forms is no carbs and higher fat. So if you do that, and whether that comes in the form of eating out or just if you're able to cook and things like that, but like that's the bottom line is and
I think what we need to do, I think what we'll do with the accountability piece is important for everybody, and I'm sure that there's obviously still some knowledge that Jess can help with, but now you've got the tools, and now it's just her keeping her finger on top of it.
That's
saying,
all this is it's accountability. I want to still perform for like I want to come in when we meet once a month, and I want to have performed the way that we were expecting. I want to have lost weight or gained muscle and body fat percentage. Like whenever there's been like two times where I've come in and I've it's been like a backslide, and like I feel terrible. Like it's just like and obviously she's like, it's okay, whatever, back on it now. But like for me, that's what that is. That's why I keep going. Like I don't need to come see her to be able to do this, but like because like you said, she's giving me just the majority, she's giving me the tools I need to maintain now. But that's it. Like it is a very, because I need it in terms of accountability and just I love to see the results. It's still you
gotta see the metrics. You gotta be able to see the progress.
It's still results oriented right now. Like I'm not at a point where I'm just ready to just kind of where I am. I'm happy and I'll just maintain that. I'm not there yet. So like for me, I need to see those results. I'm myself working towards that. If I don't see that, I know myself pretty well. Like I think that there's a good chance I slip, and so accountability and seeing those results for her is really. But
It's got to be really good seeing that body scan, like where you're started, like when she prints that thing out.
It's
like the dots probably way up here for, say, body fat, and all of a sudden that thing is like,
it's crazy, and that, and then the weight obviously too. There's so many metrics that I haven't focused on in the beginning, but like that have become more important now. The body fat percentage being one. The one that I didn't even realize until here last month, she pointed out to me was the.
Was it the muscle mass?
No, it was the. What was it? Just the amount of fat I need to lose overall, and it was like probably when I started this was like probably over 200 pounds.
It gives you your fat mass.
Yeah, it was like over 200 pounds probably, and now it's down to like 22 pounds of fat or something like that.
That's really good.
Well, we need to add one more layer of this accountability. So what we'll do, we'll put on the calendar 6 months from now. 6 months from now seems conservative.
Sure.
That Derek will be at his target range. And then we can,
I think so.
We can have him back on here and do a little part 2 where it says, hey, now we've reached his target, and then we'll have to make him online, on the podcast, say, hey, what's next?
Yeah.
And I think that's because if you would have asked yourself 2 years ago, hey, what are you going to do when you're 260? You're like, talking about
260, crazy.
I'm gonna be 260.
I'm almost 5. I'm gonna be 260.
He was playing at Wimbledon at 260. So I think that's what we do next.
Yeah,
I think that
I like it.
I hope people can appreciate the challenges of this journey, and again, I love that you said that you made this the degree of difficulty a 10. And I think that should show people if Derek can do this, anybody can do it. But you got to start.
Yeah, you got to start.
You got to start.
You got to start. Yeah.
There's got to be a start point. And you saw this wasn't a smooth 1 year and 8 months. This thing, he had a huge little hiccup with 40 pounds, and then boom, got right back on it. So you don't have to be perfect.
No.
That's some good eating in Hawaii. It's got to be.
Man, I'm gonna go with him next time.
No, it's crazy. They're big breakfast people. So but it's just rice at every meal and rice and spam. And like you go to McDonald's.
Oh my gosh.
Like here you go to McDonald's for a breakfast platter, and it's pancakes, bacon, and eggs. And there you go, and it's either Portuguese sausage and spam with rice and eggs. Like that's their breakfast platter.
That sounds good.
It's so good. And then just
hot sauce on that thing.
The food out there is incredible. It's my favorite. The breakfast, like I felt. I can't even. I don't
Phil's gonna try and set up some podcast in Hawaii.
Yeah. I got a place we could do it. I got a place.
I got a place with that sausage and rice.
I can't. Yeah, I got you.
Well, listen, man, we appreciate you coming on. This is awesome. It's cool to hear because I've always heard secondhand kind of, Jess keeps everybody pretty close to the sleeve about what their progress has been, and but I've seen the amount of time you've put into this, and to be able to hear the story is awesome. I appreciate you sharing with us.
Thanks for having me.
And in 6 months, we'll be back.
260-ish range and below 20% body fat.
I love it, dude.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Until next time, this is Built by Vitality Podcast.